The massive station hung in the darkness of space like a jewel. Apex Prime was the pride of the Galactic Council, a place where 17 alien civilizations gathered to make decisions that affected billions of lives across the galaxy. Today, the Grand Chamber was filled with representatives from every member species. They sat in their assigned seats. Waiting for the meeting to begin, Ambassador Jiwoo Han stood in the center of the circular room. She was a small woman by human standards, wearing the simple blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Her dark hair was pulled back neatly, and her face showed nothing but polite attention. Around her, the alien delegates whispered among themselves in languages that sounded like music, grinding stones or electronic pulses. At the head of the chamber sat Archon Velthor, leader of the Draconid Empire. He was massive, nearly 3 meters tall, with scales that shimmered like oil and eyes that glowed a dull red. When he spoke, his voice boomed through the translation devices everyone wore. "The Council recognizes Ambassador Han of Earth," Velthor said. His mouth formed what might have been a smile, showing rows of sharp teeth. Gi Wu bowed slightly. "Thank you, Archon. I've come to discuss the technology sharing agreement we spoke about last month. My government is eager to learn more about your propulsion systems." Several of the aliens made sounds that the translators rendered as laughter. Kiwu kept her expression neutral, though inside she felt a cold satisfaction. They thought she was stupid. They thought all humans were stupid. "Ambassador Han," Velthor said, standing up. His voice became serious. "The Council has made a decision regarding Earth. We feel it is time to be honest with you about your planet's future." Wu felt her heart rate increase, but she kept her face calm. This was the moment they had been waiting for. 15 years of playing dumb, of pretending Earth was grateful for the Council's guidance, was about to pay off. "Please, Archon, tell me," she said softly. Velthor's claws clicked against the stone floor as he walked closer. "Your species has been evaluated. We have studied your culture, your technology, your resources. The Council has determined that humanity will serve the galaxy best as a resource species." The words hung in the air. Around the chamber, the other delegates watched with what seemed like anticipation. Some of them had been through this before, Jiwoo realized. They knew what was coming. "I don't understand," Jiwoo said, though she understood perfectly. "It is simple," Velthor explained. "Earth has many valuable minerals. Your people are numerous and can perform labor. In 72 hours, Council ships will arrive at your planet. Your governments will surrender. Your people will be assigned work quotas. Those who resist will be eliminated. Those who comply will be allowed to live." Jiwoo let her knees buckle slightly. She grabbed the railing in front of her as if to steady herself. "You're going to enslave us? But you said, you promised we would be partners." Another delegate, a creature that looked like a floating mass of tentacles, spoke up. "Your species is too primitive to be partners. You barely have fusion power. Your weapons are kinetic projectiles. You cannot even leave your own solar system without our help. You should be grateful we are allowing you to live at all." "The decision is final," Velthor said. "You will return to Earth and inform your leaders. Surrender peacefully, and the transition will be smooth. Resist, and we will take what we want by force. We have done this 43 times before. No species has ever succeeded in resisting the Council." Jiwoo looked around the chamber. Every alien face showed the same thing: certainty. They believed they had already won. They had no idea what was waiting for them. She let tears form in her eyes. It wasn't hard. The anger she felt could easily be mistaken for fear and despair. "Please," she whispered. "There must be another way." "There is not," Velthor said flatly. "You have 72 hours. Spend them wisely. Convince your people to accept their fate. It will save lives." Giwoo nodded slowly, as if defeated. She turned and walked toward the exit, her steps slow and heavy. Behind her, she heard the Council delegates already discussing the division of Earth's resources. The Draconids wanted the mining rights. The hexapods claimed the agricultural continents. The Void Dwellers argued over which human populations would make the best workers. As soon as the chamber doors closed behind her, Jiwoo straightened up. She walked quickly through the corridors of Apex Prime toward the docking bay where her shuttle waited. Her fingers moved to the small device hidden in her uniform collar. She pressed it 3 times in a specific pattern. Light years away. In the darkness beyond Neptune, Admiral Taewon Kim sat in the command chair of his flagship. He was a weathered man in his 50s, with gray streaking his black hair and scars on his hands from years of military service. Around him, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. A small light blinked on his command console. 3 flashes. Pause. 3 flashes. Pause. 3 flashes. Signal received, he said quietly. Confirmation code verified. It's time. His communications officer, a young woman named Lieutenant Heron, turned to him. Sir, should I send the fleet-wide alert? Taewon nodded. It. All ships are to prepare for combat operations. Target packages are to be distributed immediately. And send a message to Mars base. Tell General Soyoung to activate the planetary defense grid. Yes. Sir Heron said, her fingers flying over her console. Tae-Wan stood up and walked to the forward viewport. Outside space looked empty, but he knew better. Out there, hidden by the most advanced stealth technology humanity had ever created, were over 2,000 warships. Cruisers, destroyers, carriers, and dreadnoughts. The entire United Earth fleet, built in secret over 15 years. The Council thought humans were primitive. They thought Earth had maybe 50 outdated ships armed with simple missiles and railguns. They had no idea that humanity had been preparing for this exact scenario since the day the Council first made contact. Sir, another officer called out. We're receiving similar confirmation signals from Ambassador Han's shuttle. She's requesting immediate extraction. Have Captain Young-Ho's stealth ship pick her up, Taewon ordered. Get her out of Council space before they realize what's happening. Already on it, sir, the officer confirmed. Tae-Wan allowed himself a small smile. Kyu-woo had played her part perfectly. For 15 years, she had pretended to be a naive, trusting diplomat. She had fed the Council false information about Earth's technology and military strength. She had smiled and nodded while they insulted her species. And now, finally, the mask could come off. Sir, Lieutenant Heron said, all fleet elements are reporting ready status. 2,147 ships armed and prepared for combat. Weapon systems are charged. Targeting solutions are locked. Taewon looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Council fleet was preparing to invade Earth. 300 warships they would send. The Council's standard invasion force, they thought it would be more than enough. Maintain stealth protocols, he ordered. We wait for them to make the first move. Let them come to our solar system. Let them think they've won. He paused, his voice becoming cold. And then we show them what happens when you threaten humanity. The bridge crew responded with a unified, yes, sir. In 72 hours, the Council would learn a hard lesson. They had made the mistake of judging humanity by appearances. They had assumed that because Earth seemed weak, it was weak. They had no idea that humans were very good at one thing above all others, preparing for war. The galaxy was about to change forever. The Council's invasion fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. 300 warships, each one massive and bristling with weapons, arranged themselves into attack formation. At the center of the fleet, aboard the command dreadnought Fist of Justice, Council Admiral Dexun observed the primitive solar system before him. Dexun was a hexapod, a species that looked like a massive insect with 6 legs and 4 arms. His compound eyes could see in multiple spectrums at once. And right now, they showed him exactly what he expected, a weak, defenseless world ripe for conquest. Scan the system, he ordered his tactical officer. Show me what these humans have to defend themselves. The tactical officer, a smaller hexapod named Rixel, worked at his console. Sir, I'm detecting approximately 50 vessels near their moon. They appear to be outdated fusion drive ships. Weapon signatures indicate basic kinetic accelerators and primitive missiles. This soon made a clicking sound that indicated amusement. 50 ships. The Archon said they might have 100. They couldn't even manage that. He leaned forward in his command throne. Open a channel to the human vessels. The communication system activated, and the Exoon's voice boomed across space, translated into every human language. Attention, human defenders. This is Council Admiral Dexoon. Your planet has been designated for resource extraction. Your species will submit to Council authority. Surrender immediately, and you will be treated fairly. Resist, and you will be destroyed. On the bridge of the Earthship Soul's Hammer, Captain Sungmin Park listened to the aliens' demands with a calm expression. He was a young man for a ship captain, only 35, but he had trained his entire adult life for this moment. Around him, his crew waited silently at their stations. Sir, his communications officer said, the Admiral is asking for your response. Sungmin smiled. Open a channel. Let me talk to this fool. The channel opened, and Sungmin spoke clearly. Council Admiral Dexoon, this is Captain Sungmin Park of the Earth Defense Fleet. I have a message for you. He paused, letting the words hang in space. You were warned. You chose extinction. Dexoon's laugh echoed through the communication system. Warned by whom? Your ambassador who begged for mercy? Your planet that has no real weapons? He turned to his weapons officer. Target their ships. Destroy 10 of them. Show the humans what they face. But before the weapons officer could respond, Rixel shouted from his console, Sir, new contacts? Multiple new contacts appearing throughout the system. They've soon spun around. What? Where? Everywhere, sir. Rixel's voice was panicked now. Behind the asteroid belt, near Jupiter's moons, around Saturn's rings, even behind us. They're decloaking. On the tactical display, red icons began appearing by the hundreds. 10 became 50. 50 became 100. 100 became 500. The numbers kept climbing. How many? The Soon demanded. Over 2,000 ships, sir. They were hidden. We didn't see them until they wanted us to. Dexoon stared at the display in disbelief. 2,000 ships. That was impossible. The Council's intelligence had been certain. Earth was primitive. Earth was weak. Earth had no advanced technology. Sir Rixel said, his voice shaking. I'm analyzing their energy signatures. These aren't fusion drives. These are quantum reactors. And their weapons. I've never seen power readings like this. Soon Min's voice came through the communication channel again. But now, it was broadcast to every Council ship in the system. You thought we were primitive? You thought we were easy prey. You were wrong. For 15 years, we let you believe your lies. We fed you false information. We played weak while we built this fleet in secret. Paused. Now you will learn what humanity does to those who threaten our home. All ships. Weapons free. They soon shouted. Fire on the human fleet. The Council ships opened fire, launching thousands of missiles and energy beams toward the human vessels. It was an overwhelming barrage, enough firepower to destroy a small moon. But the human ships didn't try to dodge. They didn't run. Instead, they activated defensive systems the Council had never seen before. Shimmering energy barriers appeared around each human ship. The Council's missiles struck the barriers and simply vanished, their energy absorbed and redirected. The energy beams bent around the human vessels as if repelled by invisible force fields. Impossible. They soon shouted. Those are third-generation shield systems. They shouldn't have that technology. Rixel was frantically working at his console. Sir, they're charging weapons. Energy readings are off the scale. Sungmin gave a simple order to his crew. All ships, fire. 2,000 human warships opened fire at once. The weapons they used were beyond anything the Council had encountered. Quantum disruptors tore holes in space-time itself, ripping Council ships apart at the molecular level. Singularity torpedoes created tiny black holes that swallowed entire vessels. Reality shearing beam arrays cut through Council armor as if it were paper. The space around Earth lit up like a star as the human weapons found their targets. Council ships exploded, broke apart, or simply ceased to exist. the mighty invasion fleet, which had conquered 43 other species, was torn to shreds in less than 3 minutes. Thixun watched in horror as half his fleet vanished from the tactical display. Retreat. All ships retreat. Emergency faster-than-light jump. But the humans had planned for that too. From positions throughout the solar system, Earth ships activated jump inhibitors. The fleeing Council vessels found their faster-than-light drives wouldn't engage. They were trapped. "We can't jump," Rixel screamed. "They're blocking our drives." Sungmin's voice came through again, cold and clear. "You're not leaving. Every ship in your fleet will be destroyed. We want the rest of the Council to see what we do to invaders." In the asteroid belt, Dr. Haijin Lee watched from the command center of the military research station. She was a brilliant scientist who had spent the last decade developing the weapons now being used against the Council. Around her, display screens showed the battle in real time. "Quantum disruptors are performing better than expected," she said to her assistant. "The Council's armor is no match for weapons that attack at the quantum level," her assistant said. "We're receiving reports from the fighter squadrons. They're requesting permission to engage," Ajin nodded. "Tell them to launch. Let's show the Council what else we've been working on." From carriers hidden throughout the solar system, human fighter craft poured into space. Leading them was Commander Mira Choi, Calcine Tigris, the best pilot in Earth's fleet. Her fighter was small and fast, equipped with weapons that made Council point defense systems look like toys. "Tigris Squadron, follow my lead," she said into her helmet radio. "Target the Council cruisers. Hit them hard and fast." Her squadron of 50 fighters dove toward the Council fleet like predatory birds. They moved with a speed and agility that shocked the Council defenders. Mira's targeting computer locked onto a Council cruiser, and she fired. The missile she launched wasn't just explosive. It was a nanite warhead designed by Dr. Haijin's team. When it hit the Council ship's hull, billions of microscopic machines began eating through the armor, systems, and structure. In seconds, the massive cruiser came apart from the inside. "Good hit, Tigris," one of her pilots called out. "These weapons are incredible." "Stay focused," Mira ordered. "There are still plenty of targets." Back on the Council flagship, Thexun was desperately trying to organize a defense, but it was hopeless. His ships were being destroyed faster than he could count them. The humans weren't just winning. They were annihilating his fleet with casual efficiency. "Sir, we have to surrender," Rixal pleaded. "We can't fight this. They're too advanced." Thexun wanted to argue, but he couldn't. Everything the Council believed about humanity was wrong. These weren't primitive apes playing with fire. These were advanced warriors who had been waiting for this moment. "Send a surrender signal," Thexun said quietly. "Tell them we yield." But Songmin's response was immediate and brutal. "Surrender denied. You came here to enslave us. You came here to take our world. There is no surrender. There is only consequence." The human fleet continued firing. Council ships died in flames and vacuum. Of the 300 vessels that entered Earth's solar system, fewer than 50 remained. And those survivors were damaged, their shields down, their weapons exhausted. "Final warning," Admiral Sunaman said. "You have one chance to live. You will carry a message back to the Council. Tell them what happened here. Tell them that humanity is coming. Tell them that every species they enslaved will be freed. And tell them that the age of the Council is over." Thexun nodded frantically. Yes, we'll tell them. Please, just let us go." "Take your surviving ships and run," Songmin ordered. "And know that we're faster than you. We'll arrive at Council space before you do." The jump inhibitors deactivated. The surviving Council ships engaged their faster-than-light drives and vanished into the darkness, fleeing as fast as their damaged systems would allow. On Earth, billions of people watched the battle through live feeds. They saw their fleet, hidden for so long, destroy an invasion force in minutes. They saw humanity's true strength revealed at last. Admiral Taewon Kim sat in his command chair and allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was chaos. Representatives from all 17 member species filled the chamber, but this time there was no order. no calm deliberation. Instead, there was panic. Arco stood at the center. His scales had lost their shimmer. He looked older, more tired. Around him, the other delegates were shouting, arguing, demanding answers. The carefully maintained image of Council's superiority had shattered like glass. How could this happen? Screeched the Void Dweller representative, its translucent body pulsing with agitation. Our fleet was destroyed. 300 ships reduced to 47 survivors in minutes. The humans lied to us, Velthor said grimly. They played weak while they prepared. Ambassador Han fed us false intelligence for 15 years. We underestimated them. A delegate from the Crystalline Collective, a being made of living crystal, spoke with a voice like chiming bells. Admiral Vexun's report says they have over 2,000 ships. Advanced weapons we've never seen. Technology that rivals or exceeds our own. This is impossible. It happened, Velthor said flatly. We must face reality. The humans are not the prey we thought they were. They are predators, and now they're coming for us. As if summoning a demon by speaking its name, every communication screen in the chamber suddenly activated. On each one appeared the same image, a human in a military uniform. He was older, with gray in his hair and hard eyes that had seen too much war. Members of the Galactic Council, the human said. I am Fleet Admiral Dehayan Quan, Supreme Commander of the United Earth Fleet. You tried to enslave my people. That was your first mistake. Thinking we were weak was your second. Running instead of surrendering was your third. Velthor found his voice. Admiral Quan, this is a secure council chamber. How did you access our systems? Dehayan smiled, but there was no warmth in it. We've been in your systems for years, Archon. We know everything. The location of every military base. Every shipyard. Every colony. We know which species you enslaved. We know their locations. We even know about the mass graves on Kepler 44, to be where you buried the Xelian people after they resisted. The chamber fell silent. That information was classified at the highest level. If the humans knew about Kepler 442b, they knew everything. What do you want? Velthor asked quietly. Justice, Dehayan said simply. For 15 years you planned to enslave humanity. You've actually enslaved 43 other species. All of that ends now. You have 72 hours to release every enslaved population and surrender your offensive military capabilities. If you refuse, we will take them by force. You dare threaten the Council? Roared the Draconid military commander. We have over 5,000 warships. You may have 2,000, but we still outnumber you. Numbers don't win wars, Dehayan replied. Technology does. Strategy does. Will does. You have none of those advantages. He leaned forward. Your 72 hours started 10 minutes ago. Choose wisely. The screens went dark. The council chamber erupted in argument again. But Velthor knew the truth. They had awakened something terrible. The humans weren't going to negotiate. They were going to attack. Mobilize all fleets, he ordered. Recall every ship to defensive positions. We prepare for war, far from the Council's seat of power in the depths of space. Commander Yun Sunam sat in her darkened office aboard the intelligent ship Silent Observer. She was a small woman with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Her job was to know things, and she was very good at it. Commander, her second-in-command, said, We've confirmed the data. The Council is mobilizing their combined fleet. 5,213 vessels moving to defensive positions, Yunsu nodded. Expected. Have our infiltration teams begun their work? Yes, ma'am. 23 key Council installations are already compromised. The sabotage programs are in place, Good Yunsu said. When the fleet arrives, I want those installations offline. No shipyards. No supply depots. No communication relays. The Council is going to learn what it means to fight a war on our terms. She pulled up a star map showing the Council's territory. Red markers indicated military targets. Blue markers showed enslaved populations. Green markers were her infiltration teams. Send a message to Admiral Dehayan, she ordered. Tell him the board is set. We can move when ready. Halfway across the galaxy, Captain Young Ho Shin guided his stealth ship Shadow of Inchen through Council space. His ship was invisible to sensors, able to slip past even the most advanced detection systems. He had been doing this for years, mapping Council defenses, placing spy devices, waiting for the day when Earth would need this information.
Captain,
His tactical officer whispered. We're approaching the Draconid military shipyard. Should we deploy the package? Young Ho looked at the massive orbital facility through his viewport. It was where the Council built its largest warships. Destroying it would cripple their ship production for years. Deploy, he said quietly. A small device, no bigger than a briefcase, launched from the stealth ship. It drifted toward the shipyard looking like just another piece of space debris. But inside was enough antimatter to turn the entire facility into vapor. Package deployed, the tactical officer confirmed. Timer set for 6 hours. Mark the location and move to the next target, Young Ho ordered. We have 12 more shipyards to visit tonight. Human fleet divided into strike groups, each with specific targets. They didn't attack randomly. They had spent years planning this campaign. Every move was calculated. Every strike was meant to send a message. Admiral Dehine led the main battle group toward the hexapod home system. His flagship, the massive dreadnought Indomitable Spirit, cut through space surrounded by a fleet of 300 warships. Sir, his communications officer said, we're receiving a transmission from the Crystalline Collective. They're requesting to speak with you directly. Put them through, Dehine ordered. The crystalline being appeared on screen, its body flickering with nervous energy. Admiral, the Crystalline Collective wishes to surrender. We were coerced into the Council. We never agreed with their policies of enslavement. Please spare our people. Dehine studied the alien carefully. Intelligence reports suggested the Crystalline Collective had indeed been one of the less aggressive Council members. They had voted against some of the worst policies. Release all enslaved populations in your territory, Dehine said. Provide us with complete data on Council military assets. Do this within 12 hours, and your worlds will not be touched. We will comply immediately, the Crystalline said with clear relief. Thank you, Admiral. As the transmission ended, Dehine's second-in-command spoke up. Sir, that's the third Council species to surrender. The Voidlings and the Merchants Guild also capitulated. The Council is fracturing. Good, Dehine said. Fear is spreading. Keep up the pressure. Before each attack, the human fleet broadcast something that chilled the Council to their core. They played recordings of the Council's own internal communications. Meetings where they discussed enslaving species. Reports where they calculated profit from suffering. Messages where they laughed about the weakness of their victims. Every Council citizen could now hear what their leaders really thought. The carefully maintained image of benevolent governance crumbled. Protests erupted on Council worlds. Some species began openly rebelling against their governments. On the Draconid homeworld, Archon Velthar watched his empire fall apart. 3 more species had surrendered to the humans. Riots filled the streets of his capital. His own military was questioning orders. We must use the planet killers, his military advisor urged. It's the only way to stop them. Destroy Earth and the humans will surrender. Velthar considered this. The Council possessed 6 weapons capable of destroying planets. They were forbidden technology, banned by every civilized species. But these were desperate times. Prepare the planet killer missiles, he ordered. Target Earth. We will show them that the Council still has teeth, his advisor hesitated. Archon, if we use those weapons, we will be condemned by the entire galaxy. Every species will turn against us. They already are, Velthar said bitterly. At least this way, we take our enemies with us. The orders were sent. 6 massive missiles, each one capable of cracking a planet's crust and boiling its oceans, were armed and targeted at Earth. They would be launched from maximum range. Approaching from different directions to ensure at least one got through in the Council's war room, Supreme War Master Kreldon, a massive warrior from the Titan species, coordinated the attack. All launchers report ready. We can fire on your command, Archon, Felther took a deep breath. This would be the Council's final gambit. Either Earth would be destroyed, or the Council would fall. There was no middle ground now. Fire, he said. 6 planet-killer missiles launched from hidden positions across Council space. They accelerated to incredible speeds, each one following a different path toward Earth. The journey would take days. But once they arrived, nothing would survive. The Council waited. Hoping this would force the humans to negotiate, they had no idea that humanity had been preparing for this exact scenario. Every possible Council response had been anticipated and planned for. The 6 planet-killer missiles streaked through space toward Earth, each one traveling at speeds that bent physics to their limits. On paper, they were unstoppable. In reality, humanity had been preparing for unstoppable weapons since the day they learned the Council existed. General So-Young-Bae watched the tactical display in her command center. The 6 red dots moved steadily toward the blue dot that represented Earth. Around her, hundreds of officers and technicians worked at their stations with calm efficiency. "Defense grid status?" she asked. "All platforms online and responding," her second-in-command reported. "We have 47 orbital stations, 322 satellite interceptors, and the deep space sentries throughout the asteroid belt. Every system is armed and tracking the targets." So-Young had spent 10 years building this network. Everyone thought she was paranoid, building defenses against planet-killer weapons that the Council claimed they didn't have. But she knew better. Any civilization that would enslave others would use any weapon necessary to maintain power. "The nearest missile will reach the asteroid belt in 6 hours, her tactical officer said. "Recommend we engage at maximum range," agreed So-Young said. "Activate deep space sentries. I want those missiles destroyed before they get anywhere near Earth." In the outer solar system, hidden among asteroids and disguised as space debris, the deep space sentries came online. These were AI-controlled defense platforms equipped with humanity's most advanced interception systems. They had been waiting silently for years. Now their moment had arrived. The first planet-killer missile entered the asteroid belt. Its guidance system locked on Earth. It never saw the attack coming. 3 sentry platforms fired simultaneously, their quantum disruptors tearing the missile apart at the molecular level. The weapon designed to destroy a planet vanished in a flash of light. "First target neutralized," the tactical officer reported. 5 more to go, So-Young said calmly. "Continue engagement." One by one, the planet-killer missiles died. The second was caught by a gravity well trap that crushed it into a point of infinite density. The third was intercepted by a swarm of hunter-killer drones that tore it to pieces. The fourth, fifth, and sixth were destroyed by orbital platforms using weapons that the Council had never imagined possible. The entire engagement lasted 17 minutes. Not a single missile got within 1,000,000 kilometers of Earth. "All targets destroyed," the tactical officer confirmed. "Earth is secure." "Send a message to Admiral Daehan. Tell him the Council just played their last card. It's time to end this." Admiral Tae-Won Kim received the message aboard his flagship. He had been waiting for the Council to use their forbidden weapons. Now that they had failed, there were no more excuses. No more delays. The war would end on humanity's terms. "All fleet elements, this is Fleet Admiral Kim," he broadcast to every human ship. "The Council has attempted to destroy our homeworld and failed. We will now demonstrate to the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity. Our target is the Draconid home system. We jump in 30 minutes. He turned to his navigation officer. "Lieutenant, plot a course directly to the Draconid homeworld. We're not sneaking up on them this time. I want them to see us coming." "Sir, that's the heart of Council space," the officer said nervously. "They'll have thousands of ships defending it." "I'm counting on it," Tae-Won said coldly. "We're going to break the Council's military power in one battle. Every ship they have will come to defend their capital, and we're going to crush them all." Captain Hyansiko stood on the bridge of his ship-wraith leader, the flagship of the experimental jump squadron. He was young for such responsibility, only 32, but he had proven his skills time and again in simulations. Now, he would prove them in reality. "Captain," his helmsman said, "we're receiving final coordinates from Fleet Admiral Kim. We're going in first." Hyansik nodded. His squadron had been equipped with the newest technology, experimental. Jump drives that could move ships across vast distances instantaneously. The range was limited, and the energy cost was enormous, but the tactical advantage was incredible. All Wraith Squadron ships prepare for tactical jump, he ordered. Target is Draconid orbital space. We're going to appear right on top of them. His squadron consisted of 50 ships, all equipped with the experimental drives and loaded with the heaviest weapons humanity could build. They would jump directly into the enemy's capital system and cause chaos while the main fleet arrived. Jump in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, execute. Space twisted around the Wraith Squadron. For a moment that felt like an eternity, they existed nowhere and everywhere at once. Then reality snapped back, and they were no longer in Earth space. They were in orbit around the Draconid homeworld. Around them, hundreds of Council ships filled the space. Orbital defense platforms bristled with weapons. The Draconids' proud fleet, their last line of defense, surrounded their most precious world, and then 50 human warships simply appeared among them without warning. All ships, weapons free. Hyansik shouted, "Hit them before they know what's happening." The Wraith Squadron opened fire at point-blank range. Council ships exploded before they could even activate their shields. Orbital platforms were torn apart by quantum disruptors. The carefully organized defense formation dissolved into chaos. "Enemy ships are responding," his tactical officer called out. "They're trying to target us." "Evasive maneuvers," Hyansik ordered. "Don't stay still for more than 3 seconds. Keep moving. Keep firing." His ship danced through space, dodging return fire while unleashing destruction. Around him, his squadron did the same. They were outnumbered 10 to 1, but the surprise was total. On the planet's surface, Archon Velthar watched through the windows of his palace as the orbital battle raged above. Human ships had appeared from nowhere, striking at the heart of his empire. This was impossible. This was humiliation. How did they get here? He roared at his military advisors. How did they bypass every defense? Supreme War Master Kreldon studied the tactical reports with growing horror. "They're using some kind of instantaneous transportation technology. Our sensors didn't detect anything until they were already here. Destroy them," Velthar demanded. "Send every ship. Kill them all." But even as he gave the order, new contacts appeared on the sensors. The main human fleet, led by Admiral Tae-won Kim, emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Over 1,000 warships, arranged in perfect battle formation, began their approach to the Draconid homeworld. In a laboratory station hidden behind a distant moon, Dr. Sang-Woo Lim watched the battle through remote sensors. He was an elderly scientist, one of the brightest minds in human history. For the past 5 years, he had been working on a project so dangerous, so powerful, that only a handful of people even knew it existed. The Prometheus Project. "Doctor," his assistant said nervously, "Admiral Kim is requesting status on the Prometheus devices." Sang-Woo looked at the equipment surrounding him. It didn't look impressive. Just a series of large cylinders connected by cables and covered in cooling systems. But these devices could do something that no weapon in galactic history had ever achieved. They could weaponize stars. "Tell the Admiral the devices are ready," Sang-Woo said quietly. "We can deploy them on his command." The assistant swallowed hard. "Sir, are we really going to do this? If we use these weapons, we could destroy an entire solar system." "That's the point," Sang-Woo replied. "The Council needs to understand that threatening Earth means facing consequences they cannot imagine. We won't actually use them, but we need to prove we can." Back in the battle, Admiral Tae-won's fleet smashed into the Council's defensive formation. The fight was brutal and one-sided. Human weapons tore through Council shields. Human tactics outmaneuvered Council strategies. Ship after ship fell to the human assault. Captain Hyansik's Wraith Squadron had been fighting for 30 minutes straight. His ships were damaged, running low on ammunition, but they had carved a path through the Council defenses. "Wraith Leader, this is Fleet Admiral Kim," Tae-won's voice came through the radio. "Good work, Captain. pull back to friendly lines and rearm. Understood, Admiral, Hyacinth replied. Wraith Squadron, disengage and return to the fleet. His battered ships retreated from the battle, having accomplished their mission. The surprise attack had thrown the Council's defense into chaos, allowing the main fleet to attack with minimal losses. Admiral Taiwan watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. The Council fleet was large, but it was no match for human technology and tactics. In less than 2 hours, half the Council ships were destroyed or disabled. He opened a communication channel directly to the Draconid Palace. Archon Velthor, this is Fleet Admiral Taewon Kim. Your fleet is broken. Your orbital defenses are destroyed. You have one chance to survive what comes next. On his throne, Velthor stared at the human's image. His empire was burning. His fleet was dying. Everything he had built was crumbling. What are your terms? He asked quietly. Unconditional surrender of all Council military forces within 24 hours, Taewon said. Release of all enslaved populations. Dismantling of all offensive weapon systems. War crimes trials for Council leadership. He paused. And to ensure your compliance, we're going to demonstrate our most powerful weapon. The war lasted 73 hours from the moment the Council's invasion fleet entered Earth's solar system to the moment Archon Velthor transmitted his unconditional surrender. In that brief time, the entire power structure of the galaxy had been overturned. President Haewon Park stood in the command center on Earth. Watching the reports come in from across Council space, she was a dignified woman in her 60s, who had led Earth through the secret buildup of the fleet and now led humanity through its most important moment in history. Madam President, her chief of staff said, we're receiving surrender signals from all Council species. The Draconids, Hexapods, Void Dwellers, all of them. They're standing down their military forces as requested. Haewon nodded slowly. And the enslaved populations? Liberation operations are underway. Admiral Taewon's fleet is visiting each enslaved world and removing Council occupation forces. The freed peoples are being given supplies and medical aid. Haewon felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. Humanity had won the war in 3 days. Now came the harder part, winning the peace. Schedule an address to the galaxy, she ordered. It's time to explain what happens next. 6 hours later, every communication device in the galaxy received the same broadcast. President Haewon appeared on screens across thousands of worlds, speaking clearly and calmly. People of the galaxy, I am President Haewon Park of United Earth. 3 days ago, the Galactic Council attempted to invade and enslave my people. They failed. Their military power has been broken. Their leadership has surrendered unconditionally. She paused, letting the words sink in. I know many of you are afraid. You wonder if humanity will simply replace the Council as the new oppressor. You wonder if we will take revenge on those who threatened us. She shook her head. That is not who we are. Humanity did not build the largest military fleet in the galaxy to conquer. We built it to protect. We did not develop weapons capable of destroying stars to threaten the innocent. We developed them to ensure that no one could ever threaten us or anyone else without facing absolute consequences. The Galactic Council is dissolved as of this moment. In its place, we propose a new Galactic Assembly, an organization where every species has equal representation, where decisions are made by consensus, not by force, where the strong protect the weak instead of exploiting them. All 43 species enslaved by the Council are hereby granted full independence. Their worlds are their own. Humanity will provide assistance in rebuilding, but we will not impose our will upon them. This is their right to determine their own future. As for the Council species who participated in these crimes, you will face justice, but it will be fair justice. War crimes trials will be held for those who ordered and carried out atrocities. Those who simply followed orders out of fear will be pardoned. We seek accountability, not vengeance. She leaned forward, her expression serious. To be clear, Earth's military fleet remains at full strength. The weapons we demonstrated during the war remain active and ready. This is not because we want to threaten anyone. It is because we will never again allow a situation where the powerful can prey upon the weak without consequence. We will be the guardians of galactic peace, not through domination, but through strength used in service of justice. The galaxy is entering a new era, one where cooperation replaces exploitation, where diversity is celebrated instead of used as an excuse for slavery, where every species, no matter how small or seemingly weak, has the right to determine their own destiny. I invite all species to send representatives to the first Galactic Assembly, which will convene in 30 days. Together, we will build something better than what came before. Together, we will prove that civilization means more than just technology and power. It means using that power to lift up rather than oppress. Thank you. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, billions of beings processed what they had heard. For many of the enslaved species, it was the first time they had dared to hope for freedom. For the Council species, it was a moment of reckoning. And for the rest of the galaxy, it was a glimpse of something unprecedented. A powerful civilization choosing not to rule, Admiral Taewon Kim, stood on the bridge of his flagship in orbit above the planet, Kepler 4 for to be. This world had been home to the Zelian people. A peaceful species that had resisted Council enslavement, the Council had responded with genocide, massacring billions. Sir, his communications officer said, "We've located the mass graves." There are so many of them. Taewon felt old. He had fought wars, seen terrible things, but this was different. This was systematic murder on a scale that shocked even him. Deployed the forensic teams, he ordered quietly. Document everything. Every grave, every victim. This evidence will be presented at the trials. Sir, we're also receiving requests from survivors. There are still Zelians alive, hidden in remote areas. They're asking if the liberation is real or if it's another Council trick. Send them a message, Taewon said. Tell them the Council is gone. Tell them they're free. And tell them humanity will help them rebuild for as long as they need us. 30 days later, the first Galactic Assembly convened on a neutral space station built specifically for this purpose. The station was called New Dawn, and it orbited a beautiful blue star far from any major power center. Ambassador Ji Wuhan walked through the corridors toward the main assembly hall. After 15 years of pretending to be naive and grateful, she could finally be herself. She had been elected as the first Galactic Chancellor, a position she had never wanted but felt obligated to accept. The assembly hall was enormous, with seating for representatives from over 100 species. Not just the former council members, but also the freed slaves, the minor civilizations that had been too weak to have a voice before, and even species that had isolated themselves from galactic politics until now, as Ji Wu took her place at the Chancellor's podium. She looked out at the assembled delegates. There were so many different forms of life here, beings made of crystal, energy, flesh, metal, and substances she couldn't even identify. All of them equal under the new system. This assembly is now in session, she said, her voice translated into hundreds of languages simultaneously. We are here to build a better galaxy. Not through conquest or domination, but through cooperation and mutual respect. In the audience sat Pixnella, a representative from one of the freed species. She was a small, furry creature who had spent most of her life as a slave in council factories. Now she sat as an equal among those who had once owned her people. Chancellor Han Pixnella said, standing to speak, "My people have a question. The humans defeated the council in 3 days. You have weapons that can destroy stars. Why should we trust that you won't become the next council?" It was the question everyone wanted to ask, but few dared to voice. Gi Wu appreciated the directness. "That is a fair question," Gi Wu replied. "I cannot give you absolute proof that humanity will never abuse its power. I can only tell you what we believe and what we have done. Humanity was almost enslaved. We know what it feels like to be helpless, to face an enemy we thought we couldn't defeat. We chose to fight and we won. But we won by being smarter, not crueler. By being more prepared, not more ruthless. After the war, We had a choice. We could have taken Council territory as our own. We could have demanded tribute from the freed species. We could have imposed our government on the galaxy. We chose to do none of those things. Instead, we are here, sitting in an assembly, where a former slave has the same voice as the representative of Earth, where decisions require consensus, where military power does not equal political power. She paused, looking directly at Pixnella. But you're right to be cautious. Power corrupts, and we are not immune to that, which is why we support strong democratic institutions, why we insist on transparency, why we have placed our military under the oversight of an independent council that includes non-human members. No. Trust is earned, not given. We hope to earn yours through our actions, not our words. Pixnella sat down. Seeming satisfied with the answer, the assembly continued for weeks. They drafted the first Galactic Constitution, a document that guaranteed rights for all sentient beings. They established the Terran peacekeeping fleet under joint command of multiple species. They created courts to try war criminals. From the Council Admiral, Taiwan attended the trial of Archon Velthor. The former leader of the Draconid Empire stood before a panel of judges from 7 different species. The evidence against him was overwhelming. Orders for enslavement, approval of genocide, authorization of planet-killer weapons against civilian targets. Velthor offered no defense. He simply stood silently as the charges were read. Velthor looked up. I underestimated humanity. That was my mistake. I thought they were weak because they appeared peaceful. I thought they were primitive because they let us believe it. He laughed bitterly. They played us perfectly. And now my empire is gone. My people are reduced to a minor power, and I will spend the rest of my life in prison. Perhaps that is justice. You ordered the deaths of billions, the judge said coldly. You enslaved entire species. You attempted genocide against Earth. Yes, you underestimated humanity. But your greater crime was believing that might made right, that the strong had the right to dominate the weak.